Hey guys, so okay, I kind of wanted to do one thing first, and then I'm like feeling pulling cards. But I just kind of wanted to speak about the part of healing that comes after the anger, right? That comes after the disbelief, that comes after all the kind of intense and built up emotions that get triggered and released over time. Um, I find myself still crying at random times some days, and I literally have to remind myself I'm safe, and that's kind of why I cry, is because I notice how far I've come and I give myself credit at that time. Now, at first, I didn't quite understand why I was feeling so overwhelmed or why I was feeling so emotional over certain things that seem so simple, right? Like, I'd be sitting on the bus and I just get this overwhelming feeling of gratitude of I'm safe, I'm not in that same position. Look at things that I've accomplished. Look at how far I've come, and then I feel just like grateful and I feel overwhelmed. And if you're kind of like me where you find yourself overwhelmed or you find yourself questioning like why do I feel like this or what's wrong when nothing's wrong, I want to let you know like it's okay. And you're not alone in that. And I do think that is something that needs to be discussed more or talked about and addressed a little bit more, because we hear so much about the traumatic events. We hear so much about, you need to do your healing. We hear so much about parts of healing. Hold on. But nobody talks about what happens. First of all, I was not prepared for the level of I don't give a fuck energy that I had in a positive manner. So I'm gonna open up about my story a little bit, and then I'm feeling called to use the Empath's Oracle. This is honestly one of my first decks that I got. Fucking love it. It's a good checking tool. Um, but for those of you who do not know me, most of you probably don't know me. Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm coming on this channel to just create discussion, to create a safe space, to create movement, to provide some advice and some friendly energy, some clean energy, and share some things that maybe if I share them, one other person won't have to experience what I experienced. So with that being said, I wish things that I kind of wish people would have, or people would, not would have, people would highlight and discuss more is not just the anger at them or at yourself necessarily, but even anger at the people who were external factors around you. So, for example, I got out of a domestic violence relationship in April of 2020, 23. I was like, he got arrested about a year and a half ago. So, April of 2023, either April or March of last year, I'm pretty sure it was April because it was a month before my birthday. Anyways, long story short, when he got arrested, I'm gonna be honest, I was still talking to him up until about, let's see, he got arrested in like August. I was still talking to him for about 5 months while he was in jail after the last serious event occurred. And I was not prepared for a lot of it, right? I mean, he ended up being arrested one night, and then all of a sudden, we were already homeless. So I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, I had a friend who was in the process of transitioning apartments, and one apartment that she had, I was able to go to, and she let me in there, and I'm thankful for that because at the time I wasn't allowed to go to the battered women's and children's shelter here, and I found out later, and like later, I mean recently, within the past 2 weeks, they were supposed to set up a different type of coordinate for me to either go to a hotel or someplace else to be able to stay until something else was figured out, to where I would be able to either go to another shelter or stay in the hotel until something else was safe. That did not happen. And I don't think that happens for a lot of people, mainly because our police force, or the public officials, are not educated in trauma therapy or trauma informed therapy or trauma informed actions, right? So the whole point in kind of discussing all of this is to be able to talk about it, to be able to acknowledge what happened, and to inform people, because my story is mine to me, but I'm not the only one who is going through those types of situations. And I'm thankful I got out. I'm thankful I'm here, and I'm blessed. I am protected. That's another thing I was not prepared for in the healing process, was guilt, almost, of getting out and of doing better and of improving. And I no longer feel that guilt, or I don't feel like I need to feel bad about my success at this point. But in the early stages, I didn't really talk about a lot of things that I was doing. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't see them as successes yet. I wasn't where I wanted to be. For about, how many months after? 4 months after he got arrested, it took me to be able to get back on my own feet. And what I mean by that is, I took odd jobs here and there. I mowed a lawn. I, helped build different things. I took opportunities where I could, and then eventually I got into a job that I actually did very well in, and it allowed me to be stable again and be able to afford my own apartment. That's a whole different story for a whole other day that I don't even think I'm gonna get into. But I was proud of myself, and I didn't really acknowledge it in the moment, and that's something I wish that I kind of would have taken the time to do a little bit more, is give myself credit, because I've done this all myself. And I'm not saying that like, oh, look at me. No, as in, this shit's not easy. This shit was not, oh, I'm just gonna do this. No, this took blood, sweat, and tears, and literally like working my ass off for this. And a lot of inner work, a lot of shedding, transformation, a lot of bravery, a lot of getting comfortable with not knowing, getting comfortable with change, getting comfortable with trying something different, and believing in myself enough that I thought that I knew I could do it, if that makes sense, that I thought I knew enough to know that I could do it. But it wasn't me I was believing in, it was my faith. Like, I didn't always have that, right? Those who know me, who know me in personal life, a couple years ago, I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in much of anything. And I grew up Catholic. I grew up believing in something, and then I got very angry. I got mad. I didn't understand, and I had a battle with addiction. I've had a battle with mental health issues. I'm bipolar. I mean, in high school, they wouldn't diagnose me till I turned 18, and I was dealing with that. I'm BPD. I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD till I turned 22. I am 27 now. And, I've made it out of a predatory situation where he would control me utilizing drugs and would sexually abuse me. I've made it out of a lot. I sit here today and I say this not with a smiling face, not because I find it funny, not because I find it lighthearted, not because I'm looking for sympathy or empathy. No, I'm smiling because I got through it. And I'm smiling because I created my whole life that I have today. And it may not be absolutely perfect, but it's damn sure further than it was. And I just want to help people at this point, right? I'm like, I don't think I can fix people. I'm not trying to save people. I've done that. I'm good. But I can help people. And those who want to be helped or take the help that I'm offering, and I may help those that I don't even know I'm helping, just like people who don't even know me know they impacted me in ways they don't even know. And I just want to be a force for good. I want to be impactful. I want to be motivational. And I look back and I'm like, a couple years ago, younger Gabby and baby Gabby, like 6-year-old me, looking up to maybe 20-year-old me, would not want my child looking up to that woman. No. Would not be like, that's your role model. I was very impulsive, very suicidal, I was in the midst of my addiction. I was not doing great. And, you know, I look at my life now and who I've turned into and who I created and who I've worked towards. And hold on. Okay, my audio like stopped working for a sec. I mean, it's still recorded, but I feel like that was kind of like my cue to get into the second part of this. As this channel evolves, I would like to be able to show or tell more about, you know, my history, where I've come from. But this channel is not necessarily for me. It was to enhance and help others with the knowledge that I've gathered and the wisdom from experiences that I've had, to help further educate others, help people not feel so alone. I know how deep that feeling can run. Let's get into some cards, guys. What I'm feeling drawn to be talking about right now is kind of like where in our journey would it be best to realign, right? What areas need to be looked at to best move forward? And it doesn't matter what step of your healing journey you're on. These can be, think of them like aspects of life, right? Not necessarily stages, steps. Hold on, I'm gonna cleanse these real quick. There we go. Okay, so let's see. And I want to get 2 areas that would be beneficial to maybe look at and adjust, right? 2 areas of our life that would be beneficial to maybe just take an intake, right? To see how that area of life is going. So give me 2 areas of life that would be beneficial to analyze, right? One. Oh, that almost dropped the whole thing. I did that. But 26 is sitting with sorrow, and 10 is seeking healing water. So this is more kind of the stage, that mindset or aspect that we're in right now, right? Sitting with sorrow. If you're like me, you kind of try to avoid it sometimes because it can be uncomfortable, or you feel like there's no appropriate time to feel that sorrow, so you just don't feel it until you can't help but feel it, right? So I feel like it's also 26. 26 goes into 8. 8 is what talks about kind of mastery, right? Kind of talks about being, at least for me, I just thought of 8 of Pentacles. The 8 of Pentacles talks about like being able to study, being able to have a craft, being able to develop something. It's and then 10, seeking healing water. If you look at this card, it almost looks like a bird to me, like right here. And it's almost like there's this water right here that's being dropped, right? But it's, to me, I also see a person, like a, so you see the person's neck right here and their face. We are what, 75-80% water. And for those of you who don't think we are at least somewhat influenced by the moon, let's look at science for a sec, right? And just think of the fact of if the ocean is pulled by gravity, which is controlled by the moon, and we are about 75-80% water, why would you think that we are not in some way or shape or form affected, influenced, pulled, you know, by the moon? And oh, let me show you guys a book. If you guys like getting to do different types of things with your zodiac, because I do, I know I like knowing my big 3. If you go to, I think it's Cafe Astrology, I'll link that down below. They have a prenatal chart that you can do, and also I will read what the meaning of the cards are in just a sec. This book is actually very helpful. It's The Power of Sun and Moon Signs to Enhance Your Relationships, Work, and Life. Now, I suggest going to Cafe Astrology. If you know your birth time, it's very beneficial. It's kind of helpful. It's kind of the whole point, right? So please try to, if you want to go use it, you don't have to, but it is going to be more beneficial because it literally, your prenatal chart is a diagram of all the constellations and planets that were in line at the time of your birth. So it kind of gives you more insight into who you are as a whole versus just your zodiac personality type, right? So if you're like me and you know what the big three are, mine are Aries, no, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, but it's very interesting. Okay, 26. So, hold up. This book is also, I mean, this deck was one of my first ones that I got, and I freaking love this deck. Had it for a couple years. This is what it looks like. So, Sitting with Sorrow. The essential themes of this are accepting sadness as part of the emotional growing process, deciding to become attached to heavy, dark deciding to not become attached to heavy, dark emotional energy, dividing personal sadness from that which has been empathically absorbed. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, right? Like feeling this overwhelm of emotion, feeling this overwhelm of, for me, it feels like I'm gonna cry. My throat tightens up, my eyes start watering, and at first I thought it was a panic attack. And I realized, no, it's because my nervous system is calming down. And because I had a lot of emotions, I had a lot of sorrow, I had a lot of things that I'm still working on letting things go. But just like this card says, right? It says this painting represents beauty in a sadness and the need to surrender it from time to time. Like every human emotion, there's a deeper meaning to sadness. Sorrow rains down on the figurine in the picture, providing an emotional purification and the wisdom that can emerge strengthened from this condition. So, kind of like I was going to say, I don't know if I started saying it or not, but transmutation, right? Taking the negative or taking, that's something I wish that they would talk about more. Back to part one. Um, it's okay to feel the sadness. It's okay to sit with your feelings and cry. It's okay to not know what to do. It's okay to scream. It's okay to not do anything for a period of time. What's not okay is denying your own feelings and not addressing them at any point. But I wish that we would address taking the sadness and using it as a motivation or transmuting such negativity into something beautiful, right? You see this a lot with artists or poets or singers, creative, those who have a creative outlet and express themselves through creative means. You'll see this a lot. I've noticed this within myself too. A lot of the time in very heavy situations that were not okay, I come out with amazing pieces of artwork or amazing songs or amazing poetries because I was writing with that emotion. So if you're like me and you have a way of expressing yourself on paper or drawing, just something to get out of here, you can take any energy that's bottled up and turn it into something by using that as your energy that you exude. Does that make sense? So it's like alchemy, right? That's what we talk about a lot in spirituality. Alchemy. It's changing, the golds and changing from states, right? Your base metals, the goal is to turn to gold, right? To turn things into gold. And I don't think the turning to gold was necessarily a physical thing. The turning to gold, I feel like, was an internal spiritual purification that burns off the ego, that transmutes and transforms from other states into that purity, right? But it was always underneath. It just had to forego some pressure, it had to forego some heat, some cooling, there's a process to it. And this card, it's like, I see, to me, this looks like a waterfall, right? But it almost looks like it's the back of her head to me. It could be the front, this could be her front, but to me, it's the back. And it's almost like she's looking away. And so but there's so much going on back here, and releasing that. And I feel like that's what this card comes into play with, was seeking healing water. Water transmutes, water flows. Unless the water's stagnant, water doesn't get old, right? Water is always cleansed. And even in nature, if it's not getting moved, if it's not flowing, it gets stagnant. It builds algae, which are toxins. It gets bacteria. So, and again, we are 75-80% water. So if we're stagnant, if we're sitting with that energy, even water can get old and when it doesn't move, right? So when we release that and take that energy and apply it, you can release it. And also, I don't know if other people do this, but this is kind of something that helps me, is to cleanse my energy at night, because I'm an empath, right? And as an empath, I still find it hard sometimes to block other people's energy. There's still shit. I mean, I can't block everything from everybody, but I do my best, right? So when I get in the shower, I imagine the water cleansing any of my aura that is stagnant, that is stuck, that is tied to things it doesn't need to be. And if it helps you, just create a mantra or have that intention when you get in the shower that that water is cleansing you. And then before you get out, imagine that it seals you with a golden light of protection. That's what I imagine, and it helps me cleanse my energy, keep my energy safe, remove any toxins, remove any negativity. So with the water, so the healing essentials of the 10 cards seeking healing water are contemplating the presence of water and its influence in daily life, creating a deeper relationship with water on a spiritual level, and following the cycle of the moon's tides in order to better understand our life's journey. What did I say earlier? The imagery says, the blue fluid imagery in this card's painting is a calling towards the water element. It invites an engagement with water in some form. The image portrays the fusion of water as an elemental force. Its fluid consistency. Okay, sorry. My phone told me it was out of storage. Okay. Giving her the magical power to always be flexible in thought and action. So the deeper meanings is water is a healing force. Empathy and emotion are ruled by the water element. Many empaths believe that this element can provide the most healing and rejuvenating energy. A personal relationship to the water element can keep us from getting emotionally stuck or stagnant in life. What did I say? I love when things are confirmation. Up to 60% of human bodies consist of water. I was wrong, I said 80. Evolutionary, we came out of the depths of the ocean and will always remain naturally connected to the mighty sea. The process of creating a deeper relationship with water also connects to the cycles of the moon. If the ocean's tide are intricately connected to the lunar cycle, it only makes sense that Lady Luna influences our bodies and are including our thoughts and emotions. What did I say? Metaphysical systems recognize that the new moon is a time for looking within and forming new beginnings. The waxing cycle is a time for increasing the energy we intend to invoke in our lives. The full moon is a time to make prayers and to consider things we wish to emotionally release. As the moon wanes, certain energies may be intentionally decreased. Metaphysical and astrological systems also recognize that the moon represents emotions as well as the subtle, unconscious forces that dictate how we approach or live our lives. When approaching the lunar cycle with intentional awareness, we are tapping into the water element in a cosmic way, paving the way to a brighter future. And suggestions for actions. Let's see what it says. Is it similar to what I said? Engaging with water can take form of enjoying a relaxing bath, cleansing shower, a dip in the ocean, going swimming, standing in the rain, meditating by a stream, finding a natural hot spring, and even hydrating the body with pure water throughout the day. It is good practice to examine your pee after urinating. If it's dark in color, it's time to drink more water, and staying properly hydrated helps the body function as a whole, which in turn helps the mental and emotional well-being. By additionally paying attention and aligning our energies with the lunar cycle, we can intentionally activate the water within us, allowing us to grow daily in emotional maturity and wisdom. So I feel like that was pretty straightforward, right? Like if we take a look at the water, let's see. I don't feel called to use these cards right now. Hold on. Let's finish the card for a second. I got this other one. Obviously, I cleansed it, but I got this deck at Goodwill. And I'm going to use it. So My next question then is what inner resources can we utilize to be able to help us sit with that sorrow, right? Or process that sorrow, let go of the sorrow. I'm gonna say let go of the sorrow because release it, because focusing on it isn't gonna help. But not doing that isn't gonna help either. So I'm gonna ask what within ourselves do we need to utilize to be able to process and transmute the sorrow and intense emotions that we are feeling, right? What internal resources can we utilize to help us process, transmute, and release emotions such as sorrow that we are sitting with, right? The Solstice Oracle? I'll thought it. Okay, well, two. I feel so called to do one more. Hold on. One more thing to utilize. Maybe not. The Starry Night and this one. Okay. So, hold on. I'm going to show you all of them together, and then on the bottom of the deck we have this one. It kind of reminds me of like Virgin Mary and like celebration, birth. I'm curious about this because this is the overall energy, so hold up. No, okay. This is the overall energy, right? This is the universe, this is us. This is how the universe sees us. Like we are the baby, right? It's cradling us, it's nurturing us and providing us. All this is what we're working with. It's vast. But do you see the protection that both of them have, and the way she's cradling her next to her? I mean, the way she's like keeping that close to her, that mother and that divine nature, like that's the universe. That's the universe working in conjunction with us. And it's like this energy is what we are, and it's like we're in awe. But I still there's like a sadness in it too. So hold on, let me read this card real quick. It's 38, right, which translates to 11, which actually breaks down to 2. And 2 talks about unity, balance, decisions. Let's read 38. Grace of God is what it says. Right there, see? It says, take your best shot. I will understand. Unwavering. I will not fall. I will not break. For his love is always true and strong. This no one can take away. So it reads, sometimes when we are sad and feeling lost or broken, unexpected lower vibrational entities may be attracted to our vulnerability. That's what I was talking about with the shower. Cleanse it. That's what it continues to say. Confused about their own existence, entities could choose to reside in someone's living space. Their presence could even start to influence the way someone thinks and behaves. That's why it is important to periodically clear unwanted energies or entities away from ourselves and our surroundings, just like we sweep, vacuum, and wash our clothes. Maintaining a clear spiritual environment is just as important. So that's literally what I just talked about. In regards to keeping a clean self, when I utilize my sage, when I utilize my Palo Santo, when I cleanse my space, I put that intention, and I will sometimes verbally say it if I feel called to. No negative energy is allowed to be here. I ask Archangel Michael to be with me at this time. All my angels, ancestors, spirits, guides, who have the greatest and highest white light, who have healed, I ask you to please be with me, protect me in this space at this time. Insert what works for you, right? Create your own. Do what works. Just know that your magic is your magic, right? How you interact with the universe, how you choose to share your energy and interact and call in and work with, that's all to you, baby. But I would say if you're just starting, my biggest tip is your intention. Always have a clear intention and don't do things angrily. There's people that can say otherwise. They may practice a different form of magic. They may have different rules. I don't care. For me, don't do something out of emotion like anger, and don't do any ill will, bad, nothing negative. Just focus. I don't think you should, I don't think it's right to place a spell on someone else who's not willing, right? It's one thing if you ask for protection for like a family member, a boyfriend, whatever, ask for them to be guided. That's how I view it. But unless that person unless you verbally ask that person for permission to do a spell work or to do anything else, I don't think you should be doing it. And that's just me. I personally don't even work with hexes or curses. That's not my thing. But there are people who do, and I don't judge them. That's cool. That's your corner of the magic. That's your relationship. But for me, I just don't believe in it. It's just not my thing. But I'm like, it doesn't exist in my reality. I know it's real, but I don't use. Yeah. Don't be worried or fearful. There are some great techniques you can use for a successful outcome. One of the most popular cleaning tools is sage or smudge. What did I just say? Those natural products are often used to help clean house, while burning sage and smudge walk through your space or room with confidence. Dude, I just said something along these lines. It says, you might try saying something like, for those who do not serve through the love of God must leave this space. You can also call upon Pine Meadow Mariah or even her son Jesus Christ for assistance. What did I say? It looked like Virgin Mary. So the oil is associated with Mary Mother. It can be diffused with water and sprayed through your home or space. Seek high quality essential oils for this procedure. Because it is inexpensive, varieties may not be as effective. Be assured the mere mention of the name Jesus Christ or whatever spiritual entity you believe in that has the same type of good intention and same power demands respects and it demands respect, and those who are unworthy will not be able to tolerate his presence. I like that though. I had not thought of that. I might add that to mine. I like that. And that's another thing with magic, dude. Take what fits for you, explore with some things, find what doesn't work, find what does work, but don't don't try to tell somebody what they can and cannot do. It's not your place. And who are you to judge anybody else's thing? You're not. It says sometimes we may have an unwanted attachment to our physical body and soul, and it is more common than you realize. There are several possibilities. Spiritual entities, dark entities, reptilians, demons, shape-shifting giant demons. That's a tongue twister, a whole form of, that's a lot. Lesser demons, watcher demons, and also fallen angels. Although fallen angels are very rare and usually only attach themselves to females, this card appeared in your reading because you need to use your pendulum or whatever you're using to cleanse your space, to cleanse your space. That might be a sign for me too. And your physical being. Dealing with this type of attachment is handled differently than what you would do to clear a room. Call upon Archangel Uriel and Michael, and they will assist you. Also call for the blessed light beings here on earth to help direct the misguided or negative entities away from you or the person that you are asking for help for. For assistance from Archangel Gabriel, ask for assistance from Archangel Gabriel. He watches over the heavenly realms of peace and light. He will open the entranceway and guide lost souls into the light. That's kind of what I saw for that overall, but that was more like for me, I more got that was the overall energy, and that is more what universe is doing, is keeping your space cleansed, keeping you connected while you're dealing with the sorrow, while you're figuring out how to heal. And then the cards that flipped over were together outright 39 in reverse, right? Kind of looks like this. Looks like this upright, but it's in reverse, so I'm gonna take it in reverse. I don't think they have reverse meanings, but I'm gonna take it in reverse. Because to me, this almost looks like being stifled, kind of being suppressed, being defensive. That's how I see it. But we'll see. 39. 75, it kind of looks like a mermaid. She kind of has this angry vibe though, so it's almost like the stifled energy and like feeling angry, kind of running like those like hanging on by a thread. That's what I heard. Kind of like red flags hanging on by a thread. This reminds me of Starry Night 7. I thought it was actually kind of pretty. And then 6 is this one. So it goes 39, which breaks down to, well, it adds up to 12, which breaks down to 3. It talks kind of about cohesion, group work, unity, triangles, balance, not balance, but like a solid foundation, and then the structure. 12 again, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah. So again, another 3, and then a 7, and a 6. 3, 3, 7, 6, which I just like doing math and numbers. So 3 plus 3 plus 7 plus 6 plus 7, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 19, which then breaks down to 10. Because I asked, what do we need to ask for or utilize more to be able, of our inner resources, to be able to move forward and process and deal with these. So how I'm reading this is with 39 in reverse, right? Again, I'm taking it in reverse, but that's again what it looks like upright. It almost looks like a drop of water hitting it, right? And creating a ripple, creating an effect. It's spiral, it's kind of going out, right? But it all started with a little dot right here. And if you see, it's like a heart. So how I'm actually, I just heard don't take it reverse. So I need to keep this upright. But it's almost like, to me, it almost looks like a dagger, right? Also right here. And that's like the handle of it. But let's see what it says, because how I want to interpret it, or what I feel is kind of coming across, is like there's a very defensive side that we can utilize, right? And it can come off quick, and those that aren't on our side may see it as like, we're poking them, but it's all done in love. And this one's kind of different. 39. Yes, it is. So this one's more about trusting yourself, right? Kind of like, I'll show you what I just did in a second. Hold on. Sorry. I'm rearranging things. How these cards are actually supposed to read is 7 goes first, 39, 75, 6. But we're going to read 39 first since we're out here. Breaking, awakening a smile. Glimmers exist through the light. Songbirds sing answered prayers. All in the world is right. If you are wondering what you're sensing is true or correct, yes it is. Simply, this message is your validation. Did you recently get that gut feeling about something, but you've been hesitant to act upon it? You pulled this card because you needed that extra push of encouragement. You've got this. So how I translate that is trust yourself more. Utilize your self-determination, self-assurance, and groundedness within your own abilities to move forward, right? And how I see this is like, this is the world that, like, this is how you see the world. It's almost like standing in the middle and just seeing infinite possibilities, right? Seeing the world in a different light, seeing the world in a different space. And because of that, then once you trust yourself, right, you can move forward with this action. You can avoid tension, you can avoid things. Okay, let's read 75. Let's see what 75 goes. 5 reads 3D deep. Dreams are like rooted pools of water. Many will never experience its depth. Will you choose to walk in shallow waters or swim beyond the ropes of safety? Dive in. The water is great. Again with water. So I'm taking this as like emotions, right? Driven by emotions. Now is the time to start experiencing your life on a much deeper level of existence. You can do this if you believe in yourself and if you are willing to take the risk on something new and different. Don't overthink it. That is the worst thing. What is the worst thing that could happen? Failure? Even so, you get back up, brush yourself off, and try again. It's all part of your learning experience. That's the other word, experience, not journey. Don't put too much pressure on yourself by worrying about every little thing and how it will all play out. Just trust yourself and your abilities. Sometimes we learn from trial and error, so you might have to do a do-over here and there. And it is okay. Push forward, because all good ideas take work and mistakes must be made. Mistakes will be made. However, through your missteps, you will gain wisdom and strength within yourself, and it is all part of the bigger plan. Break down that safety rope you've been hiding behind and take on new uncharted waters. You are ready. This message signifies that it's time to move forward in love, life, or business without fear. That's kind of what I said, right? And number 6, security blanket. I lay my heart on your chest. I lay my head on your chest. Your heart is beating. My song of contentment. So safe and secure. Why must I ever wake? Contentment and securities are things we all seek, but how do we obtain them? More importantly, once we get it, how do we hold on to it? Financial stress can leave us fearful about our future, even more so if we are the family's breadwinner. Tumultuous times can bring stress and anxiety, making it hard to wake up and face the day, sleep being our only escape. Yet, if we didn't have new challenges, how would we learn and how would we evolve? There are many faces behind the meaning of this card. Not all of them are pretty. Financial loss can bring out the worst in people, especially if they prioritize money above all of their values. Maybe the reset button was pushed to help them understand more about their life and what is actually important. Perhaps they neglected family and friends and got caught up in the splendor of wealth and therefore started taking things for granted. When we're broken down, we become more humble, forcing us to stop and regroup. We all go through different types of struggles so we can learn to see things from a new perspective, which challenges us to reach in a new direction. Never give up because there are always other options. It may not be exactly what you thought you would be doing in this particular time in your life, but open yourself up to new ideas and realize you are going through a refined period. Stay positive and look for new possibilities. It is going to take a little effort on your part, but it'll be worth it. Even in tough times, there's always something to be thankful for. What you appreciate appreciates. I like what I mentioned at the very beginning. Hold on, we're gonna read number 7, which was the foundation of like how kind of we see the world, right? And it's called high tide. Life is like the tides, things will come and things will go. Waves. Inhale, exhale. Every day we breathe in and out, and mostly unnoticed, our heart contains a constant rhythm effortlessly. What it is about the little everyday things that we inadvertently overlook. That is until something goes wrong. Then out of nowhere, you realize that life can change as quickly as the tides. Suddenly, what you may have taken for granted is gone, and now you are forced to change your perspective. If it isn't happening already, significant changes are coming your way, and if the changes are unexpected, then you may be struggling with your new situation. Even a small wave might seem like a tsunami, depending on how prepared you are for it. Understandably so, but don't try to resist the change. Things are meant to come in and out of our life. Welcome what is being put in your path, and it may be something extraordinary, or maybe it's something that will challenge you to the core of your existence. Whatever it may be, it is meant for you at this particular time. Embrace it. Choose to ride the wave into your destiny. So kind of how I interpret that, right? We, if you're like me, need to utilize our ability for self-assurance, confidence, and belief to move forward with our decisions and stop being so scared or second guessing what it is that we're giving, right? And stop giving it to the wrong people. Start investing in ourselves. See how the world has changed. If you're like me, you just got over about 5-6 years of like just shit after shit. But you're here. So you know how life goes. I'm gonna close this with like one more message from my Isis deck because I like these cards. They're really pretty. And still called to do a message with Isis real quick. So at this time, or this closing message to remember for today. Today, please. Oh. Hold on, I don't want that one. I'm not gonna take it. Well, that just flipped, and all of them flipped over, so we're not gonna take that too much. I like my this one go, so. This is what's the closing message I can give. Oh, that card just went everywhere. I found it. This is what it looks like in the front. This is in the back. Flower of life. You're entering a fertile period of your life, and you are guided to think of yourself as a creative being and to surrender your control over how things will manifest and instead allow them to do so. Don't resist change. Instead, go with the flow and let it happen. Now is the time for your blossoming. In conclusion, water seems important, guys. And I hope everyone can at least get something out of this, and thanks for watching.